Yes.
Okay. All right, everybody. Branding. We just had a little brief talk before we started the lecture about what does branding mean to you and how would you define branding? So we talked a little bit about that it could be colors, it could be identity, the, the mark, it could be on merch. Um, we've talked a little bit more about brands we like. Who else can say anything else about like what else branding could be? We've talked kind of about visual things, logos, colors, merch. What else? Or is that really it? What do we think? I'm seeing on the chat there's a like the personality of a company. Partially, yeah, definitely. Um,
Could
but go ahead.
could we also associate branding with like our senses? For example, like smell, right? When I smell something, I can associate like an air freshener with Febreze or like
Yes,
food, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. Think about branded like who eats at McDonald's? Does their French fries taste the same no matter what McDonald's you go to? Any McDonald's everywhere and anywhere, right? They have a very specific way of doing things the exact same way, always and forever. And so that taste and that feel is all branded, right? That's all part of the branding. So your logo is not your brand. It's part of your brand, right? What? It's not about logos. Um, Nobody ever felt loyal or passionate about a company because of its logo. So think of your favorite brands, the ones that you wear, use, or eat regularly, a place you shop, a favorite media channel, a trusted car manufacturer. You may feel loyal to them, passionate about them. You may tell all of your family and friends about them. You may feel part of a group, an in crowd, or a tribe. Your chosen brand says something about you and the life you lead. So think about those favorite brands you have. You wear them. We talked all about shoes already. We talked about Adidas and Nike, places you shop. Like, are you a Target shopper? I just saw someone, so like thinking about like, are you a Target shopper? Are you um, go to Walgreens, CVS, specific grocery store, Amazon? Um, what channels do you listen to? Get your music from? We just talked about Apple Music versus how many people, let's put it in our chat. How many of you for music, what do you listen to? What is your brand that you go to? Is it Apple, Spotify? Is it Google? Is it, I mean, there's so many out there. So what are they? What are we using? What what are the ones you use and what works for you? So I see Spotify, I see Apple Music. I already shared with you I am Apple, but it's only because I'm all Apple. YouTube, yep, YouTube is a good one. Okay. So companies that focused on the importance of their brand over the past 5 years saw the value of their brands grow 2.4 times higher than those who didn't. So, why do you think branding is important? Tell me your thoughts and ideas about what is a brand and why is it important? Why do you think this matters? You guys can just turn your mic on and chat. You can also incorporate it into the type of chat if you want. Either way, I'll read it. I have my chat open.
I think it's because it creates like a personal connection with the people who are buying whatever the product is.
Hmm. Personal connection with your audience, right? Um, Trayvon's writing so people can earn money and get big time celebrities to check them out. It helps people remember a company and its products. The brand does. How does it do that?
But the trust in the product or trust in, to me, it's trust in product.
Okay. I think that's a good answer. I think it is trucks because What is it that we all have in common with the brands that we love? It's our experience with them, right? It's not someone else's. If I go online, if someone like you guys are seeing ads all the time, every day you're inundated with ads online, on your Instagram, on um, Snapchat, on what's the other one? Twitter, not Twitter. What am I, TikTok. I'm like, what am I thinking of? TikTok. You guys are seeing ads all the time for stuff. How many of you have gotten something that you found online that did not live up to the expectations you had? You know, it just didn't, it was not what you thought it was going to be. They made it look way better than it was. So a brand is your experience of them. So if you have something that you know you can trust and you believe in, you're gonna you're gonna not think twice about buying it because you've already bought it before, or you know it, you believe in it, you trust it. Trust is a big part of it. So I agree. So products are created in a factory, but brands are created in the mind. This was by a quote by Walter Landor. He is a research pioneer from 1930 to 1995, and his firm, Landor, is one of the largest branding firms in the world. He has offices all over the world. And so the idea is our perception of a brand is what of a company and what they can do is the brand, what we perceive. They're going to try to help us have a positive experience, but it really is in the minds of the consumer. So 23% of revenue can increase by having consistent brand presentation. 68% of companies say brand consistency has contributed to 10 to 20% of their revenue growth. Branding is what you do, what you say, and what people see. It's not one thing, it's many things. If you didn't write that down, make sure you do. When we say what you do, we mean when you start a business, you first focus on what you do. It's ultimately how you will make a difference and make a living. So it's vital to get this right. What you do is the problem you are solving, the products or services that you sell. What makes you different from your competition? What's your customer's experience? Your do will also include your business plan, target market, vision and values, processes, premises, and staff. Forgot to put these on. Sorry, guys. So it's all the things you do with your product. So here's an example of a brand I did. And so this is it's a restaurant. So here it is. Here's the restaurant. Here is the employees of that restaurant. So everything that the people that work at this restaurant do matter, that attributes to the brand. So are they happy? They look happy in this picture, aren't they? They're happy, friendly, wanting to be there for you. Everybody's smiling. That's what I want to see when I go into a restaurant. I don't want to see grumpy people. Oh my gosh. I stayed at a hotel this past weekend in Boston. And it seemed like anytime I looked at an employee of that hotel or how they were interacting, they just seemed so annoyed and bothered that they had to help anybody. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen in a hotel. But that's not the case here. Everyone's very happy and healthy. So it's everything you do. They're making food, they're making sandwiches. It's that experience of getting the food, having them make the food for you. So the next thing is what you say. You want to focus on how to tell the world what you're doing. This encompasses the written or spoken word. You may read business books or invest in coaches or copywriters, check out your competition, or go networking to your home to hone your message. Your say is also going to include everything from your business name and strapline to your pitch and how you speak about your business. It's the copy on your website, your brochure, social media posts, your blog, any videos or articles, anything you say or do. Your say will also be part of your branding and your brand voice. We have something called a brand voice. In other words, we have specific language, words, and ways we communicate that are also part of our brand. Notice how at Disney, if you go to Disneyland or Disney World or any of those Disney properties, you're always called a guest. You're always a guest. And I think, I forget what they call their, the employees are all called, have cast member. I think they're all called cast members. In other words, they're all part of the performance. You're the guest and they're all part of the performance. So those are branded terms of how they have you talk to the customers and how they talk to each other. That's all part of the branding. Here is a quick little video. Oh, hold on a minute. I think I don't have my sound on. Let me just fix that 1 second. Let me turn my sound on so you guys can hear it. Okay. You're hearing it, right?
All of our events are infused with culture. We do make sure that we have them in a local establishment where there's authentic food. We sometimes talk about different topics other than topics that are specific to culture, like vulnerability, getting out of your comfort zone, building community. Tonight our topic is neighborhood narratives, and so we're talking about being a good neighbor, but sometimes our topics are specific to cultures and we focus specifically on the culture itself.
Okay, let's say. And then that's a video with a narrative, but then there's also, this is the Instagram account. So this is all the Instagram. This is all the different ways we're talking, the words we're using, the visual language we're using along with what we're saying. We also are, what we say, we have posters inside the market talking about what's coming. We have posters talking about that event you just saw a video for, letting people know what that means and what it's about. And that's what the poster on the right is doing. So all of that is part of our say. So Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. So you're not always going to be there. The owner of a company is not going to always be there to tell people what their business is all about. You have to have everything that you're putting out there in the world saying consistent message about your brand. So that's super important. And lastly, it's what you see. Your C is the first impression people will get of your brand. This includes your logo, but C incorporates everything visible about your company. Your colors, your typography, your imagery, your icons, website, business cards, brochures, images, even the paper stock you use. Your C is also how you present yourself and the environment you conduct your business in. So like if you're a restaurant, it's what does the restaurant look like? Is it clean? Are the bathrooms clean? Do you feel like comfortable in the space? Is it well lit? So all of those things. So here's some examples of the brand, the visual now, which you're all very familiar with. So a brand has something as like you have the logo on a dark background and on a light background. We have to show the logo in both versions because sometimes it's going to be dark, sometimes it's going to be light. We create safe spaces around the logo so things don't get close to it and bump into it. We choose typefaces. We use consistent typefaces. We have brand assets we use. And for example, these brand assets we use to create patterns. And then we even put our pictures in the shapes so that they stay really custom to our brand. Color palettes, these are our color palettes. And it's not just one or two colors, it's a whole palette of lots of colors and all the shades of those colors. This is a brand guidelines book that is, or part of it. This isn't the whole thing, but this is part of it, kind of showing you all the different iterations of the way this brand can be used. It can be used with a box in a stacked version. It can be horizontal in a long version, with a box, without a box, one color. If we're doing anything that's going to be needing to go on one color, it's over here. And then how we create safe space for all these different iterations and how that works. Here are some mock-ups of the different ways that the marketing works. So like a three-legged stool, Your do say see elements need to balance, align with the support of one another to build a strong brand that resonates with your target market. You take any one of these legs away, and the stool's going to topple over. The red areas on the diagram are highlighting the danger zones. When any one of these areas is out of sync, you're in danger. So, an insecure business is when a company looks the part and promises you the world, but then fails to deliver. No do, right? A business that's consistently or knowingly disappoints its customers ultimately not going to be sustainable. One of the craziest examples of this was the Fyre Fest, the biggest luxury music festival that never happened. Billy McFarland defrauded investors and festival goers of over $27 million using glamorous Instagram pictures of supermodels, yachts, and tales of luxe accommodations. He was later jailed for 6 years for lying about what people were going to get. You can't build a reputation on what you are going to do, Henry Ford. Trust is one of the key reasons we brand. This goes beyond a logo and encompasses the whole product service concept, do, say, see model. So as well as the promise to deliver quality and predictability. So Raul is absolutely right. Trust, I think that's what you said early on. What is it? It's trust. Trust is why we brand. It's the primary function of brands is to reduce our anxiety in making choices. The more we make sense of what we know about a product, the less anxious we will feel. So how does this work? Don't blend in. You have to, in the simplest form, the practices of branding is about differentiation, making one product or service seem different from competitor products. Brand values are the core beliefs of philosophy that a brand upholds and which differentiates it from its competitors. Another way of characterizing a brand is by its personality. One way of identifying this is by doing a brand sort. So we're going to talk about a little bit more about what a brand sort is. So you have a couple things that happen when I create these worksheets because I've done some of these branding workshops I've done with entrepreneurs. And what this is you basically think about a brand persona. So in other words, let's pick a brand that we can all do together. We're going to do a little brand persona together. What's a brand we can all agree on that we all feel like we would know? So let's pick a brand that's real common that we all know, and let's put them in the chat, pop them in the chat. What's a real common brand that we all know? It can't be something obscure. It has to be a real common one that we all know and have it. I see Nike. How we feel about Nike? I see Kraft. That's a good one. We know everyone knows Kraft. I see Apple, 2 for Apple, but not everyone has Apple. Some of us are PC users, so I'm going to say not to Apple. Gucci. Not everyone might know Gucci as well. Do we all feel like we know Nike? They have such a big advertising campaign. I feel like we probably know Nike pretty well. Let's go with Nike just to keep it going. All right, so Nike. So you see this, I'm going to do something that's called a brand sort. So we're going to use the chat again, who we are. Who is Nike? I want you to put in the chat keywords that are Nike. Who are we? Are they, and when I'm going to show you some of the words. Hold on, I have my book over here. Okay, so I have this brand sort, and oopsie, I moved ahead. I didn't mean to do that. Who we are. So who we are. So not things like shoes, but I want you to think about words. And so I'm going to read off words, and if you agree, you can put it in the chat. If you don't put it in the chat. So the first word is visionary. The second is detail-oriented. The next is accessible. The next is reliable. The next is savvy. So yeah, that Trevon, thank you. Put it in there. Visionary, good. Just put in the word. You don't have to say yes or anything. Just put in the word that you hear that you agree with. Practical, actionable, experienced, empowering, approachable, authentic, value-oriented, current, proactive, tailored, cool, simple, formal. Everyone should be participating. I'm seeing a few of the same, which I'm really loving, but I want to see everyone participate. Expensive, timeless, elegant, bleeding edge, sexy, blue collar, regional, rural, urban, narrow, wise, serious, down to earth, cutting edge, market driven, fun, diverse, trusted, comprehensive, relationship oriented, consistent, modern, hip, classic, technological, innovative, responsible, leading edge, responsive, efficient, creative, fair, tried and true, strategic, trendy, casual, informal, friendly, high quality, in touch, the thought leader, professional, broad, flexible, premium, historic, tactile, customer oriented, custom, assertive, elite, welcoming, reactive, high level, eclectic, driven, aggressive, conservative, traditional, white collar, progressive. Okay. So those are what we call brand sort words that are ways we describe our brands. And that's important because we got to make sure whatever we're doing for our brand that we're being consistent with who we are. Who we're not. So it's the same list of words, but now thinking about, and I'm going to put a, oopsie. Can someone do, oopsie. Can someone put in the chat who we're not? Because if I type, it wants to change my slideshow. So who we're not. I want someone to just type in the words who we're not. So we have a break between the two. Thank you, Mariah. Okay, who we're not. So now we're going to put a list of who we're not. Same list. You're just going to determine our, first, other words. Are we progressive? White collar means executive suites, CEOs, CFOs, business, big business. Traditional, conservative, aggressive. In other words, the things we're not. Driven, eclectic, high level, reactive, assertive, historic, tactile, premium, flexible, broad, professional, high quality, friendly, informal, casual, trendy, strategic, tried and true, fair, creative, responsive, leading edge, technological, classic, consistent. I'm not going through all of them, but you've heard them already once. Diverse, fun, serious, wise, narrow, urban, rural, regional. Blue collar means working class, means your plumbers, electrician, working class people. Sexy, bleeding edge means you're ahead of technology. You're buying the latest and greatest. Elegant, slick, timeless, expensive, formal, simple, cool, tailored, proactive, current, value-oriented, authentic, approachable, empowering, experienced, actionable, practical, savvy, detail-oriented, and visionary. So those are some of them. Narrow is good. That definitely they're not narrow. I think some people are going to say they're sexy. I would say some people probably think they're sexy, but I guess that's just if you think tennis shoes are sexy, which I think some people do in fashion. Elegant, I would agree. I don't think they're elegant. I do not think they're formal. I agree. I do not think they're tailored. They're not custom made. You're buying them off the shelf. I know people do customize them, but that's not what Nike's doing. Those are other people. So good job. And the last one that we would go through, and we're not going to go through it for time, is who we'd like to be. So this is, in other words, you look at who you are, you look at who you're not, and then you look at those two categories and you go, well, who would we like to be? Would we like to be more bleeding edge? Would we like to be more formal? Do we want to be trendy, more trendy, or whatever? And you would go through and make a list of who we'd like to be. Human beings are powered by emotion, not by reason. So the essential difference between emotion and reason is that emotion leads to action, while reason leads to conclusions. So the vast majority of the population consumes and shops with their mind and their heart, or if you prefer, their emotions. So the reason it's important to know what are our key elements of, like, what are our brands, or what are we going after, is we need to understand that the way this works is very subtle. Most of the time, before seeing something in detail, you have a sense of what it is. Before understanding, you feel. And making people feel good about a brand, getting a positive emotion, is key. This is what makes a difference. And they look at rational reasons why the product does and why it's a superior choice. They like to take an emotional decision. I like it. I prefer it. I feel good about it. So primary emotions, let's talk about what they are. They're brief, intense, and they cannot be controlled. These emotions, researcher Dylan Evans of the King's College lists the following as primary emotions. We have no control over these. This is what happens. We have joy, sorrow, anger, fear, surprise, and disgust. Our secondary emotions are more complex. Love. They combine the head with the heart. Guilt, shame, pride, envy, and jealousy, which brings us right to the number one most fundamental of them all. And that is love. Is a friendship caught on fire? Plato got it right. At the touch of love, everyone becomes a poet or a cynic. And I'm no cynic. People love people. We love experiences. We love teams. We love events. We love abstract ideas like our country or our town or a cause. We love art and we love stuff. The objects we make, buy, or exchange, the objects that define who we are and where we stand. We are consumers by nature. For visually all of the world's citizens, our possessions add meaning to our lives. That's why we buy, exchange, give, treasure, and possess things. So our goal is going to be, how do we create a brand that is respected and loved? So what we learned today is we have to perform. Respect grows out of performance with each and every interaction. We need to peruse innovation, continuous improvements for consumers. We need to commit to total commitment, going the full distance of the price of respect. The consumer judges you at every touch point and will punish failure by not coming back. We got to make it easy. It's hard to use. It will die. Don't hide. People only can respect you if they know who you are. You have to guard your reputation, build over a lifetime, destroy it in an instant. Customers today are ruthless if you let them down, so don't. Tell the truth. Be upfront, be open, admit mistakes. Every time, believe in yourself. Your reputation is your premium defense. So the key takeaways are, when we think about branding, so next time we talk about branding, brands are created in the mind of the consumer. Brands are what you do, say, and what people see. Trust is one of the key reasons we brand. Branding is about creating differentiation. Emotions lead to action, and love is the reason. All right. That is the end of our presentation.